What's up, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about Pearl. This is a spin off prequel to the movie X that came out earlier this year, and it is also written and directed by Ty West, and also starring Mia Goth once again as her secondary young version of the character, Pearl, as we follow the story of her in her younger days, how this sweet, young, and innocent girl became the vicious, bloodthirsty antagonist she was in the movie X. Thinking that this was a movie being rushed to get made only to capitalize on X's success, Pearl comes out on top, literally, as this movie offers gleeful and wicked daylight horror, expanding the origins of a villain with perspective and offering one of the greatest performances by Mia Goth so far. The production value for this movie was excellent. I love the attention to detail and also returning to the farmhouse in the year 1918. A lot of the colors really pop on the screen, from costumes to the paint on buildings. How majority of the kill scenes happen at night in the first film, in this one all the kills happen during the daytime, which was an interesting contrast. I also thought it was an interesting subject to touch upon, where in the year 1918 they were going through the influenza pandemic, and it really parallels with our modern situation. The slasher element that was in the first film feels significantly toned down in this one. And if you're familiar with T. Wes's movies, you can tell that he focuses more on his shock value than he does with his body count, unless you want to count animals. For me, that wasn't so much of a problem, but for others who are expecting more of a splatterfest, I can see them being a little weary in their seats. What's there to say about young Pearl? Well, she's naive. She craves the Hollywood life that she sees in movies. She aids her ailing father under the bitter and overbearing watch of her own mother. And like any other Disney princess who goes through trials of achieving her goals, a lot of Pearl's challenges are psychological. And a lot of exterior variables begin to break her spirit and spiral her sanity down the rabbit hole. Similar to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, to Freddie Highmore's Norman Bates, to Evan Peters' Jeffrey Dahmer, Mia Goth is a revelation in this role. Her 9-minute monologue alone deserves a standing ovation at the Oscars, that was also shot with an unbreakable one take. And not to mention, she debuted as co writer for this movie, so you can tell how passionate Goth was in order to tell this story. Now, I do admit that the scarecrow scene wasn't as disturbing and awkward as I thought it would be. I think Black Swan takes the cake on that one. Tandy Wright, I hope I said her name correctly, but she definitely deserves a lot of praise for her performance and the supporting role as Pearl's mother. There is a lot of tension that ensues between the mother and daughter dynamic that feels visceral. And there's also the gray area conflicting the relationship, to where, in the shoes and love of a parent, it all comes down to responsibilities over your dreams. And not a spoiler, but this is public knowledge and available to watch, the post-credit clip on YouTube. But I cannot believe that they are going to follow up on this movie with a third installment. Maxine, the other character that Mia Goth also played in X. This will be taking place in the 1980s, so I can only think, are we going to get a story where the events of X was so messed up that Maxine becomes the Hollywood star and starts killing off people herself? Or is she going to become famous and just fall victim to a whole group of crazy people or particular antagonists? Like, I'm just interested to see where this is going, because it is pretty genius that Ty West has already pulled a Fear Street trilogy and delivered his own X universe trilogy in under the span of 2 years. Like, wow. Overall, I like that this movie definitely shows appreciation and heightens another viewing of X, all in the right ways. I remember the fact, after watching the first movie, that people were complaining and nitpicking that this particular character didn't have any real development. And with this, we get to dig in and peel back all the layers of her personality, about who she is and what really motivated her. And I like it. It's really nice. It's kind of messed up. You don't condone these acts of violence and craziness that she does, but you really appreciate it. You really care about this character. I also have to give props to Ty West for not double knotting this movie with a lot of footage from X to tie things in. I think that when all the Blu ray DVDs come out, you can actually watch them in chronological order. And for those of you who haven't had the chance to go watch X yet and actually are planning to check out Pearl, go check out X. It recently got released. I mean, you won't really appreciate this movie if you haven't seen the first film. So it really is digging up all that character development and really going for that brutal and bloody ride. Alright, guys, that's all I got to say about that movie. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Look forward to more reviews. I am Jaren Ogbanawag, and I will see you guys at the movies. Take care.
You better reimburse all the things you do. Put me in a hearse, we both cuckoo. It's never gonna